Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Today I want to do a video for Red Velvet, and this video is going to be a parent one, which we're going to figure out in this case what type of mom Irene will be like. And this is the type of reading where I'm like assuming that they want children or that they have children, what type of like parent will they be, that kind of vibe, right? Now, in my opinion, Irene already gives off vibes of being a mom. Like she already has like the authority. It could be her older sister knowledge or experience that makes her have like this very like motherly or very nurturing type of energy. But regardless of all of that, let's see what the cards have to say about what type of parent Irene will be. With the first question being, what kind of parent will Irene be like? The first card that we have is a tiger. Let's see, what type of parent would Irene be like? We have the world reverse and the two of pentacles. I don't know if it's reversed or not, so I'll take it sideways. Which sometimes it happens. Sometimes the cards come sideways and it's like, how do you interpret that? I automatically think of that as a possible blockage. So let's see. So the type of parent Irene will be, here we have fire energy with a tiger. So this kind of shows that Irene is going to be, if she were to be a parent or a mother, she will be that kind that is very low-key, likes to stay in the background and observe the situation, observe how people are acting. Like she will probably be, how should I put it? I'm thinking one of the phrases that we have in Mexico, which is like La Leona Dormida, which I usually see it be connected to an artist. I forgot her name, but the thing is that that kind of phrase is usually used for someone that they seem very calm, they seem very collected on the outside, but if you hurt or you do anything to something or someone that they really care about, then they'll like pounce and fight, right? Like, so I think Irene will be the type of parent that she's very nurturing, she's very caring, she will protect her children, she will make sure that they're well taken care of. And there will be times that if anyone tries to hurt the people that she cares about, or if anyone says anything disrespectful or mean, that's when Irene all of a sudden goes from being like this very docile looking individual, and all of a sudden like she becomes like this predator that is like, you said what about my children? So I think that that's kind of like, because I'm thinking of how like a tiger is very sneaky, especially when they're hunting. So that's why I'm thinking of Irene having these vibes where at first, you know, she seems so caring and so kind about the people that she cares about, that people never expect or never imagine that she can be very fierce when she's protecting the people that she cares about. Now, the other thing that I was thinking is like, if she were to have children and if her children were to like plan something, you know, when you have children, there is like, oh, let's play around, and they're about to be like little troublemakers or something. I have a feeling that Irene will be able to very quickly, she will be able to very quickly figure out what they're planning or what they're thinking of doing, because she's constantly looking at them, even when like her kids are not aware of it, you know. So she goes like, oh, they're being very quiet right now, they're planning something. So I do feel that for her children, especially with this moon in the third eye of the tiger, her children will always be like surprised and taken aback, like, whoa, how does mom know this, how does mom know that, you know. It's kind of like the special abilities that people unlock when they become parents. I feel that that's kind of what's going on here with Irene. Now, with this fire element on the tiger, I do feel that Irene will be the type of parent that is very genuine, very sincere, one that is very passionate. Like, she will love to play with her children, she will listen to them, maybe even go along with the stories that her children are saying. Like, I can imagine her like listening to them and like kind of like in a very nice and understanding way, being able to like keep up with the random conversations and topics that her children bring up. Like, I think she's going to be very patient with them, but this fire energy makes me think that she will also be quite on the moment, very present type of parent. And what I mean by that is like she's not going to focus on like the type of future that she wants for her kids, or not really focus on like the bad or the good that her children have done. She will just kind of focus on the present moment and stay there in the moment, living her life with her children, if that makes sense. So she will not be worrying about, like, what I mean by worry is like, you know, those people that focus so much of like, in the future my kid's gonna do these things. Like, she's not gonna be too hung up on that. Or in the past my children struggle with all of these things. Like, again, she's not gonna be hung up with those things. She'll be living in the present moment. Now the other cards that we have here is the World Reverse and the Two of Pentacles sideways. So the other two cards that we have right here kind of show that Irene could wish that she could protect her children from all of the crazy things around the world, or she wishes that she could give everything to these people, to these children, right? However, I do feel that she is aware that she is human and there's just so much she can do for her children. She knows that her children will grow from the hardships that they encounter. So, you know, I think it's like the normal thing of she will understand that even if she wants to, you know, keep her children in a bubble and make sure nothing hurts them and nothing affects them, she is aware that it's still part of human nature to experience hardships and go through challenges and difficulties. And also with the World Reverse, I have a feeling, because I'm thinking of the world is connected to Saturn, which is a planet that usually puts us in limitations and restraints so we can like grow within them or like break free from those limitations, right? So with this card being reversed, it kind of, I'm feeling a couple of things. One, I don't think Irene is thinking of being a mother right now, or if she does want children, it's one of those things that she doesn't really see it fitting her life at the moment. Of course, that could change if she wants that later on or not. Now, the other thing that I was thinking is that there is a chance that she is aware that as a parent, she needs to be strict with her children. And she can't really allow her own fears to seep down to her children, because her children are going to have different experiences from her. They all have their own personality. So she's kind of aware that even if she, in her eyes, she's giving them everything, her children have like their own issues and their own baggage, their own personalities. So she's aware that she might not be like the most accommodating for each one of them if she were to have more than one child, right? I would say children in general, right? So what I'm getting at is that she will want to give the world to them, but I think in the back of her mind, she's also aware that if she were to have children, that she, even if she gave everything to them, at the end of the day, her children will find like their own path. They have their own baggage, they have their own personalities, so they may not feel that she's giving everything to them. Because I'm thinking of the world and like being presented with everything the world has to offer, or having everything, or a certain sense of completion. The other thing that I'm thinking as well with the World Reverse is that Irene will be the type of parent that will be quite strict with her children. Now, I don't think she's necessarily putting her children in a very difficult situation as much as she's going to make sure that her children are not spoiled, even if she will want to spoil them. So, you know, making sure that her kids understand the idea of being disciplined, the idea of responsibility, the idea of accountability as well, stuff like that. I think she will teach them those values, but at the same time she will really want to spoil them. So with that being said, this Two of Pentacles kind of shows that Irene will be the type of parent that will always be working and maintaining this line of, I am your mother, but I'm also someone you can rely on. So kind of making sure that her children respect her as, you know, their mother, but at the same time they feel comfortable enough to like talk to her as if they were a friend, right? Or being able to kind of rely on her and see her as a support. But also she wants to keep this balance of someone that is someone that has authority, but someone that they can rely on comfortably. Someone that is nurturing, but also someone that is like a teacher that is able to teach them some of the hardships of life, or, you know, being able to find this balance between knowing, you know, making sure that her kids know that she will always be there to nurture them, take care of them, and support them. But at the same time, that she's able to stay firm and disciplined enough for her children to know that, for her children to not end up like super spoiled, right? I think that's what this Two of Pentacles is showing, that Irene will constantly be tiptoeing this line, this like two faces, or this two sides of her. Also, the other thing is that I always see the Two of Pentacles as time management. So with it being sideways, I think that one of her biggest blockages, or one of her biggest issues, will be organizing herself. We will see later how her children are going to be, so we get a better idea of why Irene could be this type of parent. But the other thing that I was going to say is that, she might end up having more children than she had thought, or maybe her children have very tight schedules, or she has a lifestyle that makes her need to schedule a bunch of things constantly and manage it. So maybe she's super busy, but then she's taking care of her children, so she's kind of keeping tabs of their schedules, and time never seems to be enough for her. So I also don't know how involved she will want to be with her children. And if she does want to be super involved and act like a very active parent, then that could be a reason why she always feels like she doesn't have time. And that's why this Two of Pentacles could be here. Like, she feels like she never has enough hours in a day to do all the things that she wants to do, or she feels like she's constantly busy and she never has time for herself. Something along those lines, right? Always busy, always doing something. Also, when I think of a tiger, I always think of the phrase tiger mom, which I use constantly, but I don't think I've really done research to get a good idea of what that means. But if I got it right, it's kind of like the whole thing of a mom that has like a very strict schedule for their children. So if that's the case, maybe that's why this Two of Pentacles is right here. It's kind of like Irene will probably have her kids in a lot of clubs, or maybe it could be her own kids that are like, I want to be in this, I want to be in that, I want to take these classes, and then she's super busy trying to make sure that everyone is in the right place at the right time with all of the materials that they need. So that could be why the Two of Pentacles is here. Someone that's super busy constantly. Now let's throw the die to see how many children Irene is gonna have. Protect your ears. Okay, we have 5. So, of course, this could actually mean that Irene is having 5 children, as much as it could mean that she's just having a lot of children in comparison to where she's at. So, what I mean by that is that I know that in some places it's normal to have 1 or 2 children. So, that means that maybe Irene will have more than 2. And that's why the 5 is here. Because I'm telling you, she could end up having 5 children. As much as she's just having more than what is usually expected, in this case in Korea. Now let's answer the second question, which is, how will her kids see her? Let's see. So Irene's children, if your souls are around here, tell me. I'm assuming she's gonna have children now that I mentioned that. So how would Irene's children see her? What will they think of her? What will they expect of her? So we have protection and growth. Oh, that is actually very sweet. How will Irene's children see her? And the King of Wands reverse. Even though the King of Wands is reversed, I don't see it as anything bad. It actually seems very positive to me. Okay, so the way that Irene's children will see her, we have protection, growth, and the King of Wands reverse. So with the protection and growth, we kind of talked about that already with the Tiger card. Her children are going to see her as someone that will protect them, someone that will care for them, someone that will jump to defend them if it boils down to it. So one of the things that I'm getting is that, let's say one of her children gets in trouble in school for whatever reason, Irene will make sure that she talks to her children first to understand their point of view, their perspective, and get their account of what happened before she talks to the teachers to clear things up. Or if the teachers are like, oh, your child did this and that, Irene will know her children so well that she'll be like, let me talk to my child to see why that happened. this, my kid is very calm, so if they got into a fight, it's for a reason, right? You know those times in school when, like, they call your parents and it's like, your kid did this stuff, and then, your parent goes like, okay. They hear the story, and your kid gets in trouble in school, but the parent is like, okay, don't hit little Timmy when you're mad, that's not good. But of course, maybe I shouldn't tell my kid off. They had their reasons. I just have to teach them that maybe that was not the right way of expressing it, right? Especially if, like, that kid not usually doesn't get in trouble, right? So in this case, I do feel that Irene might be that kind of parent where her kids feel like they are being heard. They feel that they're being understood. They understand that they shouldn't push their boundaries, but at the same time, they know that if they have to defend themselves, or if they have to, maybe, what is it called? If they need, how should I put it? I feel Irene's children will know how to take care of themselves, but if there ever comes a time that they have to defend themselves and they get in trouble for it, they know that Irene will be there to tell them, okay, you got in trouble for this, I understand, you shouldn't do this, and you know that, but I'm not going to continue putting you down for something that you thought was right. Especially if it's kind of like, I don't really know how to explain it. Like, I don't really have the words for it, but I hope that you understand the sentiment. Like, her children do know that she has her back, right? Like, I don't think Irene is gonna tell her children off just to be like, oh, I don't want to hear that you got in trouble in school. It's like, okay, tell me what happened so we can discuss this, we can go through this and make sure that you don't go through this again, basically. So try to actually solve the issue instead of just being like, you know how there's some parents that go like, oh, I got told off in school because of some shit that you did, and it's like, but try to listen to your child so you know what happened. I do feel that Irene in this case will listen to her children and be like, okay, maybe that wasn't the best approach, but let's, I'm not going to, you already got in trouble in school, let's just leave it there, right? Now, the other thing that I'm getting with this protection card, I do feel that Irene will be very good at keeping her promises, so her children will see her as someone very reliable in that aspect. And with the growth card, we have a little flower growing, so I do feel that her children will learn a lot from her, and they will be very happy about that, or they will feel like they have learned a lot from her in such a way, they have learned a lot of valuable things from Irene in such a way that they feel prepared, or they feel that they have all the tools that they need in their adulthood. Or as they're growing older, they're like, okay, all the things that my mom taught me is going to be very useful, or has been very useful. So I do feel that Irene is going to do a very good job at instilling like these core values, or she might be very good at giving them advice in such a way that her children will see her as someone that they can learn a lot from, and someone that was very helpful or a very good guide to their growth as individuals. Also, I do feel that her children will see her as someone that is very adaptable, or someone that grows a lot as well. So maybe her children will be able to value or see that she did put a lot of time and effort in taking care of them and giving and providing for them, and in exchange, she as an individual grew a lot as well. I don't know if Irene will continue working, or if she will maybe slow down with her work, but she will continue like improving herself as an individual, or continue with her own goals outside of like just being a mother or whatever. And I do feel that if she were to do that, her children will really admire how she has slowly but surely grown to accomplish her own goals. Now, the other card that we have right here is the King of Wands reverse. And funnily enough, I don't think this is a negative card at all. I think it's actually very positive. I think her children will see her as, well, they will see Irene as an individual who holds back quite a bit. And what I mean holds back in this case is that they know that Irene does not abuse of her authority as a mother, or as a grown-up, or as an adult. I don't know. You know how I mean, with this tiger energy, I do feel that Irene does have like this energy that people, she's the leader of Red Velvet. So I do feel that her children will feel this leadership and this authority that Irene has. But with this card being reversed, I do feel that her children see her as someone that could, like when she gets angry, she does have a reason to get angry, but even then she's not like berating them and like shouting at them like crazy. Like she still stays pretty calm and very firmly just tells her kids like don't do this or don't do that. But she doesn't like go she doesn't push like her own boundaries in that sense as well. Like she's not, she's using her authority right or correctly with her children. So her children will see her as someone that has the power to turn the house upside down, but she doesn't. Or like she has the power and authority to to like control her children, but she doesn't. So in a way, I feel like her children see her as someone that, they may see her as like the boss or like the main one in the house, the one that calls the shots, the one that plans, the one that does everything. But despite that, they don't see her as like a tyrant of sorts. I don't know why that word came up. I think it's because I've been reading a lot of like manhwas where it's set like in kings, like where there's like kings and queens and that kind of thing, right? So it's kind of like the tyrant king or whatever. They use those terms sometimes. So I think maybe that's why that word came to mind. So anyway, what I'm getting at is that her children will see her as a parent that doesn't abuse of their authority. And one of the reasons why we don't know how her children are quite yet, but she may have children that are very obedient. So in that sense, that could explain why they see her that way, or they're very grateful about that, or like maybe that's why this is being highlighted here. Because if she has very obedient children, then many of them could feel very restricted if Irene was very overbearing, or if she was always taking control of situations. Because I do feel that then that means that her children would just follow through and not say much. So what I'm getting at is that Irene gives them the freedom to be themselves and do their own thing. And they're grateful for that. I think that's what this King of Wands is saying. On to the next question, which is, what type of children is Irene getting? So we have Daffodil with Hope. We have Peppermint with Success. I want one more card at least. And we have Potato with Grounding. So these cards kind of show that Irene is going to have very successful children, or like whatever goals her children set up for themselves, they will accomplish them. She's gonna end up with children that are very optimistic, and they're very friendly as well. So either they have big friend groups, or her kids are going to get along with each other. Some of the elements that we have right here is air, fire, and earth. So this kind of tells me that she's going to have children that are pretty well balanced, or like the dynamics of the group is going to be where everyone is able to compensate for the shortcomings of the other. So they have strengths and weaknesses that are components that help each other out. So her children might be very different from each other, and those differences will be very helpful in helping the others grow, if that makes sense. So you may have a child that might be a little bit shy and reserved, but then there might be another child that is extremely outgoing and extroverted, and because of that they might be able to kind of help each other out in creating friends, or help each other get out of their shell, or something along those lines. Now let's see. With the Peppermint, I do feel that her children are going to be quite feisty, or quite what is the word? I was gonna say explosive, because I'm thinking of like volatile, not necessarily. Like, I don't think her children are going to get angry easily, but I do feel that she's going to have very excitable children. So what I mean by that is children that get easily amused, or children that don't need much to stay entertained, or children that are able to enjoy the little things in life. That's the main way I can describe it. So maybe the sky is very pretty and all her children go like, oh mom, look at that. Or maybe one of her children is going to be super creative and will kind of not allow, but in a way nourish the daydreaming or the imagination of the rest of their siblings, right? I do feel that all of her children are going to be a good support system to each other. So they're going to rely on each other, help each other out, and be there for each other. I'm seeing that with this potato. There is a sense of always working together. So her children are going to be very united. They're going to listen to each other, help each other out, be supports to each other. I do feel that they're going to be very good at listening to what, like, the rants and rambles of each other, and try to make sure that they know that there's someone out there for them. Some of the signs that we have right here, with a daffodil, we have Taurus. With a peppermint, we have Libra. And with a potato, we have Virgo energy. Okay, so we have Venus energy with a Taurus and Libra. And then we have a lot of Earth with a Taurus and Virgo. So yeah, she could have children that are born in Taurus season, Libra season, or Virgo season, but not necessarily. They could just have these signs very prominent in the charts, meaning that her children are going to be children that value beauty, children that are pretty lucky in everyday life, children that are very disciplined. Her children will love their routine. And what I mean by their routine is that many of them, with this time management as well, many of them will, like, if they have a schedule as a family, many of them will be very good at keeping up with it. So it's like, oh, we eat dinner at this hour, breakfast is at this, so wake up by this time. I think her children are going to be very good at keeping up with those schedules, and I think they're going to help each other stay in schedule as well. So like, let's say Irene is like, breakfast is going to be ready by this hour. I think her children are going to like help each other, wake each other up to be ready for breakfast or something. So there's a sense of like they're going to definitely put their part to keep with the busy schedule that we kind of saw earlier in the first question. Her children are going to be super grounded, super down to earth. I think many of them are going to like buying decorations, buying beauty products. Many of them will like to dress nicely, or I think she may end up with some of them will really, or I think many of them will really take care of their image because of all the Venus energy we have with Libra and Taurus. Also, with these two signs, I do feel that her kids are going, like I mentioned earlier, they're going to be very friendly, or they're going to have a lot of friends. But I feel because one of her children might be super outgoing and like a social butterfly of sorts. I feel one of her children is going to be really well known. I don't think they're going to be a full-blown celebrity as much as they may have a very significant achievement in their life, or they're meant to be very successful either in their career that will give them a reputation where other people in other areas and in other fields will recognize them or will acknowledge them. So one of her children could end up being a researcher that has some sort of breakthrough, or success could mean that one of her children might be a celebrity. Not necessarily though. Or also with this Libra energy, this person could end up in like as a lawyer. I'm not saying the Libras are lawyers, but I'm thinking of like the justice system and stuff. The other thing that I'm getting with the potato and the grounding, but all of this, I do feel that her children are going to, like sponges, observe whatever core values Irene like instilled in them. So I do feel that this kind of shows that her children will, like, especially in the early stages of their lives, they understood very quickly the whole system of hierarchies, the whole idea of who they are as individuals and how they should connect and relate to people around them. From a very young age, they understood the difference between disciplined and like a nurturing individual, in this case her mother, so in this case Irene. Like, I think they're going to, from a very young age, understand that they have a good mom. Or like a mom that really matches who they are as people. Also, here we have the high priestess, the sun, and is it? And I think it's supposed to be the moon. I can't see it that well because the cards are covered. So this kind of tells me that her children are going to be very happy, very optimistic. With the sun card, they're going to be children that are constantly nurturing their inner child, meaning that they're constantly doing the things that makes them happy, the things that feel very natural to them. With the moon, I do feel that her children are going to be very intuitive. They're going to be very in tune with their emotions, but they're not necessarily going to be super emotional on the outside. So I don't think her children are going to be the type that fully express how they feel. But they will be definitely very good at communicating it though, and say like, this thing makes me sad, this thing makes me angry, or like, don't do this because I don't like when you treat me this way or that way. So they're going to be very good at communicating the things that they like and they don't like, even if they don't outright show their emotions. I do feel like her kids are going to be very intuitive with this high priestess and moon energy. So they might be actually very sensitive to other people, like the intentions and vibes that the people around them have. But I don't think her children are going to be emotional, like sensitive in the emotional sense, not necessarily. Now, to end up Irene's reading, let's go on to the last question, which is, what lessons will Irene have learned from parenthood? What will she have learned from being a mother? We have Between Worlds, and we have Co-Create, and we have Sweetness, Pain, and Faith. So with the cards that we have right here, one of the things that Irene will learn is what we talked about earlier, about having this balance between being this firm, disciplined authority figure for her children, but at the same time being a very nurturing and supportive parent. Like, this is where this pain comes in. And this Between Worlds, it makes me think that Irene will learn from parenthood this balance between teaching her children, not even, it's like her herself will learn that through hardships, through limitations, in a way that instilling discipline to her children could be a bit painful, but at the same time it is for their own growth, it is for their own good. Like, I don't know if Irene is aware of this quite yet, or if she will just learn this from her, like through her children. Like, she will all of a sudden understand, because she will get a different perspective, right? Like, her children will worry or will be sad or upset about things that from her point of view she has already experienced. Like, she has already reached that other side of those challenges and those difficulties. So through her children, she will learn that through pain we grow as individuals. Like, I think this is a realization that if she hasn't reached that quite yet, she will definitely reach after she has experienced having like children and stuff. So one of the things that I'm getting is, like, let's say her children, when they're like, it could be young kids or when they're like teenagers, they start experiencing problems with their friends, or they start having these issues about feeling comfortable with their growing body or something along those lines. And through that pain and those challenges, Irene will all of a sudden have like this epiphany of sorts, where she's going to be like, that is true. We grow as individuals because of these hardships. But also the other thing that I'm getting with this sweetness, because we have Between Worlds, and on one side we have pain, and then on the other side we have sweetness. So that's why I was going back to what we talked about earlier, about Irene having this balance between being like a harsh teacher, but at the same time being a loving mother to her children, right? So Between Worlds, the other thing that I'm also getting is that she will, especially when we connect it to the Faith card and Co-Create, Irene will, through parenthood, she will learn that there's things outside of her control and things outside of her power, as we saw with the World Reverse. Like, she will learned that even if she wants to protect her children, take care of them, and prepare them as much as possible to take on the outside world, she will learn that not everything is within her power. So all of a sudden, I do feel that she's going to have either more faith in the supernatural or in the occult, or in this case, like spirituality of sorts, like this higher power, let me put it that way. Like, all of a sudden, when Irene has her children, one of the things that she will learn is that maybe she will unconsciously start praying. Like, let's say her children start going to school, so she knows she cannot be there for them constantly. She knows that she kind of has to let them go, like fly out of the nest and be on their own, do their own thing, and like kind of learn from their own experiences, from the beautiful things in life, from the hardship things in life. That I think Irene all of a sudden will start kind of like, without knowing, praying to that higher power by being like, take care of my children, or like, let's hope everything turns out well for them. So I think that's where this co-create with spirit kind of comes in, is like allowing her children to just experience life for themselves in such a way that they grow and learn. And in exchange, Irene will kind of also learn through them, through their own experiences. And by learn through their experiences, I mean that she will kind of all of a sudden get realizations of like, oh, that's why I went through those challenges in my life, because these are the lessons that are learned from them, right? Also, from parenthood, we have ups and downs. So I think Irene will just learn that sometimes life is great, sometimes life is tough, but life is definitely always worth it. With the sweetness, I do feel like she's going to experience a lot of beautiful moments with her children. Like, she's going to be very happy. She might be extremely optimistic and content with her children. Also, between worlds, I do think of someone that has a big imagination. So there might be a thing that Irene will be able to revitalize or something, her inner child, because she's connecting with children, in this case with her own children. Also with the co-create, like all of a sudden she's connected to her creativeness, she's connected to her imagination. I feel like she will learn how to be a good problem solver. She will learn how to kind of surrender what things are outside of her power and just kind of like allowing destiny and fate to do its thing. Like, kind of like do what's within her control. I'm getting a bit dizzy as I talk about this, so this might be a very big deal for her. Like, she will learn what is within her control and work within that. And then whatever is outside of her control, she will just kind of leave it up to, that higher power to just do its thing. So what I mean in this case is like, she will just have faith that things will work out. Or all of a sudden she will have faith that what's going to be will happen, if that makes sense. So yeah, in a way, Irene would just be a bit more knowledgeable about learning from mistakes, learning from successes. In a way, getting a bit of wisdom on how life just works. And by that, I mean, like, all of a sudden she will realize that we all go through this, or we all go, that in essence, we always all go through these challenges to grow. We go through success to grow as well. Or like, even in happiness, there is difficulties, but that doesn't mean that it's good or bad. It just kind of is. That's just life. So I think she will learn how to treasure the good and the bad, or the happy moments and the sad moments. She will also learn how to stay balanced, because I'm getting like between worlds and kind of like understanding when to surrender to the universe and when to take control, or like when to take action, when to take the initiative, and when not to. I do feel that that's between worlds, and it's kind of showing that she will learn this balance between getting things done and then allowing things to just happen. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this reading. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I haven't done a parent reading in such a long time, but I hope that you guys were... I mean, I think this is the first one I've done for Red Velvet, so I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys enjoyed it in that case. And also, of course, this is kind of like if Irene were to have children. Of course, when I'm doing this reading, I'm assuming she has children, right? Of course she doesn't, but I kind of do this reading in the sense of like, you know, in the, what is it called, timeline? In the timeline, if Irene were to have children, or in a timeline, or like under the assumption that Irene has children, what will happen, right? Now, this is all for the shits and giggles. This is all for the good funs, for the entertainments. Anyway, I will leave this here. I'll see you on the next one, whenever that is, however that is. Love and healing from my part to you, and bye.